Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to 11 Yanks Breakdown, where we discuss all things USMNT. I'm Pete Douthit, and today we are trying to predict Gregg Berhalter's MLS-based USMNT roster for the October friendlies. So about a month ago, when the World Cup qualifying schedule was announced, Gregg Berhalter told the press that he was hopeful of having 2 friendlies in October and 2 in November. Ideally, the 2 in October would be MLS-based and local, and the 2 in November would be based in Europe. Now, it's early September, and I haven't heard anything more about this, so I reached out to the US Soccer Communications Twitter handle and asked them what was going on, and this is what they said. "We are still working on securing matches and venues. As you can imagine, there are a lot of variables and the landscape continues to shift. The first priority is the safety of all the participants. We are certainly hopeful to play again in 2020. So that corporate dribble basically means that they don't really know yet what's going to happen. Are we still going to have matches in October? I don't know, but either way, here's an interesting thought experiment for us to do. So we're going to talk about this roster in terms of what Gregg Berhalter would probably do, and then I'm going to make some changes based on what I would do. So starting with goalkeepers, and it's pretty straightforward from Gregg Berhalter's point of view. Tyler Miller is injured, so these are the 3 he'll go with. Sean Johnson, Matt Turner, and Brad Guzan. Now, I don't rate either Brad Guzan or Sean Johnson. For me, they're way too inconsistent, especially Brad Guzan. He is 36 years old, he's on the decline, and yet you still have guys like Alexi Lalas and Stu Holden going on national broadcasts and saying he should be the USMNT #1 just because, Zach Steffen's only going to play 10 games this year for one of the best clubs in the world. Brad Guzan makes one high-profile error every 3 or 4 games for Atlanta, and nobody really talks about it. Just 2 weeks ago, they were playing against Orlando, and a header that he should have saved went right through his legs. Guys, if you're not even consistent in MLS, you shouldn't be playing for the USMNT, period. If you want an experienced goalkeeper who's also consistent, bring in Stephen Fry. Personally, I like Matt Turner a lot. He's an excellent shot stopper, and he's still just 26. The only thing is we don't really know how good he is with his feet because he plays for New England and they always punt it long. Hey guys, real quick, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Hit that subscribe button. We have videos coming out every Tuesday. If you're already subscribed, smash that like button. It helps other people to find us on the YouTube algorithm. Thanks a ton, guys. Now to the defense, and these are the 8 defenders I think Berhalter calls in. Julian Araujo and Brooks Lennon are the right backs. Long, McKenzie, Robinson, and Zimmerman are the center backs. And Sam Vines and Chase Gasper are the left backs. Now, a couple of things. Julian Araujo told Extra Time Radio last week that he hasn't made up his mind yet about who he's going to represent between the US and Mexico. He was called up in January for the friendly, but he didn't play. Why not use this opportunity to bring him in, offer him a spot? Never hurts to court those dual nationals. Aaron Long has been in bad form, but Berhalter seems to trust him. I like McKenzie a lot. I like Robinson a lot. I'm not a big fan of Zimmerman. Now, Chase Gasper and Sam Vines are 2 left backs that don't really have a future with the USMNT. Both of them can put a good cross in, but neither of them is exceptional. Instead of Zimmerman, I would have James Sands, who can play as a 6 or he can play as a center back. He's been really good for NYCFC this year, and I think he would be my 4th choice defender. I don't like Brooks Lennon. He's a very straight line sort of guy. Try hard, run fast, but his technique is very poor. I'd much rather have Kyle Duncan, who plays for New York Red Bulls. Spent a lot of time in France. He's developed more of a technical persona and is a much bigger goal threat as well. At left back, I'd cut out Chase Gasper and I'd bring in Jonathan Gomez. If he's a 16-year-old left back playing for Louisville City, he is really good. I've watched him play 4 or 5 times, and his technique, his intelligence, his ability on both sides of the ball, and he's a dual national. Get him used to the style of play, get him used to the system, get him in camp, and make him feel loved and part of the USMNT going forward. Into defense now, and this is where it gets interesting because Paul Arriola, Paxton Pomykal, and Michael Bradley are all injured. Now, I'm not a big fan of Berhalter's obsession with the playmaking defensive midfielder. I think it's unnecessary. I think it forces better players into other positions to accommodate his system, but this is what I think he'll do. Now, I don't have a problem with most of these guys, but there's 2 of these guys who I don't think belong on this roster. Will Trapp and Roldan have to go. I would rather bring in Busio to play at that 6th position. He's mostly played as a 10, but his last 4 games for Sporting KC, he's played as a 6, and he's been really, really good. He's excellent in distribution because he's very technical. He still does have to work on his defensive ability, but he's on the rise. Will Trapp doesn't even start for Miami anymore. We shouldn't be calling guys up who aren't even starters for their MLS teams. You should be performing at very least a TAM or DP level in MLS if you want to be part of this USMNT. So I would bring in Busio instead of Trapp, and I would bring in Cole Bassett instead of Christian Roldan. Guys, we've all seen Christian Roldan. He is not a USMNT level player. He's good in a system like Seattle's where Nico Lodero and Jordan Morris and Rui Diaz provide the creativity, and he basically is just a hustler. Runs around, makes simple passes, tries to win the ball, which he's not even that good at. He's fine in a Seattle system, but he is not USMNT quality, and it's time to kick him out of the national team for good. Cole Bassett is a young, dynamic box-to-box number 8 who plays for Colorado. He's 18 years old. He's had some interest from Arsenal before. He's a good young player. I would rather bring him in and get him adjusted to the system instead of continuing to rely on guys like Roldan, who have already proven they can't cut it at this level and are in their mid to late 20s, and they aren't going to get any better. So with my system, Busio and Yu would play the 6, Cole Bassett and Brendan Aronson would play the 8. Yes, I know Brendan Aronson plays the 10 for Philly. I don't think Brendan Aronson is particularly good at moving off the ball. As a 10, he tends to go play like a striker. When the midfielders have the ball, Aronson goes and squares up against the defender like he's playing a center forward. That's not his job. He should be checking back into the midfield, finding little pockets of space to receive the ball in the half turn, and he just doesn't do that. So for me, he's a better 8 than he is as a 10, because as a 10, he tends to wander way too high up the field instead of connecting dots. Sebastian Lletget and Jesus Ferreira would play as the 10s. I know Berhalter used Ferreira as a center forward last January. I don't think that's his strongest position ultimately. I think he's better as a 10. All right, let's talk forwards now. We're using forwards in a 4-3-3 formation. So this is center forwards and also wide forwards or wingers, however you want to classify them. Josie Altidore and Jassy Zardes will be the 2 up top. Jordan Morris, Chris Mueller, Ebo Bise, and Jonathan Lewis as the wingers. I don't really rate Ebo Bise and Lewis that highly, but Ebo Bise can play on the left, can also be a 3rd option at center forward. Jonathan Lewis, guys, for me, is not USMNT quality. He's in the same group as Roldan, Trapp, Lovitz, Omar Gonzalez, Brad Guzan, guys who either were never that good or are just too old now to offer something meaningful to the team. Get rid of Lewis and bring on Jose Gallegos. Yes, we're going to dip into the USL again because this kid is a baller. He plays for San Antonio FC, and if you guys haven't seen him play, he's an incredible winger. Guess what? He's also a dual national. So if we bring him in now, have an opportunity to see what he can offer the team, where can he play, get him involved in the system, get him talking to the other players, get him to feel valued and loved and a part of something, and now we have an advantage over Mexico. But I don't want to bring him in just because he's a dual national. I think this kid has real quality. The way he plays, the way he can take players on 1v1, his technical ability, his awareness needs to improve still a little bit, but he's only 18 years old. Gallegos' ceiling is starter for a top 5 league in Europe. This would be my starting lineup. I would have Turner in goal. I just think he offers more than the other goalkeeping options, and we need to find young goalkeepers that can challenge Zach Steffen for a starting spot. Julian Araujo would play it right back. Hopefully he accepts a call into camp. Miles Robinson has been really, really good with his feet for Atlanta. Way better than Aaron Long. And this is what I don't understand about Berhalter. He talks about a certain style of play and wanting to build out of the back, but then he'll play Aaron Long there, who can't do that. Miles Robinson is really good playing out of the back. Not only can he pass, he can dribble into space and make line-breaking passes. McKenzie has shown a lot of improvement in the last year. I would partner the 2 of them, and Sam Vines would start on the left with maybe Jonathan Gomez coming on for the second half. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Berhalter's obsession with this playmaking 6, but Jackson Yule can also defend when he doesn't have the ball, so I'm fine to have him there. I would put Aronson at the 8 and Sebastian Lletget at the 10. I'd put Jordan Morris on the left. He's been one of the best Americans in MLS for the last 2 or 3 years. Chris Mueller on the right, who's been really bright since Oscar Pareja came in, has tons of goals and assists, and has shown to be very effective. And Josie up top. Guys I would bring on for the second half would be Kyle Duncan, James Sands, Jonathan Gomez, Gianluca Busio, Jesus Ferreira, and Jose Gallegos. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. As always, leave me your thoughts in the comments. Specifically, what I want to know is, who did I miss out on that you think deserves a spot in this roster? There might be guys that I've overlooked or that I don't rate that highly, but I want to hear what you think. I will respond. Have a great week. I will see you next Tuesday.